Fragile. It must be Italian.
Well, I think that says fragile, honey.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so enough of that silence and just kind of watching me clean the amp, show it off and unbox it and stuff like that. Now, I did have to send this amp off for repair. Unfortunately, it did not work. So I sent it off to my buddy Dale here in North Carolina. He actually repaired this one and some other amps. You'll see the other amps in other videos, or you may have already seen them depending on when this one's released. But yeah, let's get it unboxed out of the package and then we'll take a closer look at it and we'll talk about all the features of the amp. Here we have it, the Hard Rock Amplifier 2-channel MOSFET. Check that out. It's Hard Rock and then it's got a drop shadow going in reverse. It's the HR-2200, 400 watts maximum power. You can see we got mode, subwoofer 80, 120 and off, level control here, the line input, protection, power LEDs. This thing is heavy. 220 amp fuses. We have B plus ground remote and then plus and minus for left and right channels. So this thing is just really cool. When I sent it to Dale, it just went into protect. So we'll take that sticker off since he fixed it. I said, protect needs repair. He says, no longer. You the man, Dale. Let's take that off. Here's our warning. Due to the power output and multiple wiring configurations, special care must be taken to ensure that capacitor and choke coils are connected to speakers as described in the owner's manual, which we don't have. But yeah, this is just a really cool amplifier, the Hard Rock. And oops, I forgot to show you the parts he replaced here. Again, a lot of capacitors. There is a transistor there. Just mostly electrolytics. Got it all going, so very cool. Once again, there were several amps he repaired. You can see those here. Again, you will see those in future videos if they're not already live.
The next day.
This Evaporust stuff is pretty amazing. Make sure you get some of this if you work on old amps or want to restore rust. Seems to work really well. Now, as far as ratings go, this amplifier doesn't really provide any other than 200 by 2 max. As far as dimensions go, 15 inches on the long side, 9.8 inches for the width, 2.2 inches for the height. Next up, we're going to fire up the SMD Demore Engineering Amplifier Dyno so that we can test out the power output capability of this amplifier. Now, first up, we are going to run the amp in stereo mode. We're going to have it hooked up to 2 channels of the dyno. We have it set to stereo there, and we also have the crossover part turned off. So let's try 4 ohms first, rated, who knows? Your guess is as good as mine. Let's try it out. Certified 1 kilohertz, 1% distortion, 102 watts per channel at 14.3. Nicely balanced there on the channels. I take it that Dale did some special sauce here to get it nicely balanced. 102 watts per channel, uncertified as well. So right on it, same thing. Dynamically, we do get a little bit more power. But again, look how well the channels are balanced. 115 watts per channel, 14.34. We did the efficiency, 57% using the certified test. This is a Class AB old school amp. 2 ohm stereo. Your guess is as good as mine. Maybe we get that 200 watts that it's rated. I don't know. Let's find out. Certified test, 140 watts per channel at 14.18. Again, using the 1 kilohertz tone. And we just skipped the uncertified test because it was literally the same. So we went to the dynamic test. We're getting close to that 400 watts. 169 and 179, so about 175 watts average per channel. Efficiencies dropped though, 47% at 2 ohms stereo. Next up, we're going to test out this 400 watt capability and see the 1 ohm runs. We're going to do a certified run, 1 kilohertz at 1 ohm. And yeah, it kind of chokes down a little bit, 119 and 145. So definitely the power supply is holding it back from putting out any more power. But dynamically, it does have the capability of pushing out over 500 watts dynamically at 14.14. Next up, we're going to test the amp running bridged. Most of the times when you have amps like this, you don't really have to flip the switch. In this case, you did have to flip the switch for it to work bridged. Let's try 4 ohms first. Why are you asking? Because we're curious. 40 hertz, we got 247 watts at 14.24. That's not very good when you consider we got over 100 watts per channel at 4 ohms. So here we go to clipping. We got 265 at 14.18. And then dynamically, let's see if we get any more than 265. Yeah, jumps well over 300. 353 at 14.3. And we'll check the efficiency here for the certified test, and we got about 42%. Not good, but we don't expect it to be good. 2 ohms mono. Is you crazy? Probably, but that's why we show these tests. Let's try it certified first at 40 hertz. We only got 230, so right about the same it got at 4 ohms. I wouldn't recommend running this amp at 2 ohms bridge. I don't know who else even has one of these amps, so it doesn't really matter. Dynamically, sending the pulse track, we get over 400 watts. So yeah, that 400 watts on the front, even though it says max, hey, we got it dynamically, no problem. Now let's smack it up, flip it, rub it down. Oh no! I mean, just take the bottom cover off here. And yeah, first thing you'll notice is this bottom cover of this amp is beefy. I mean, it feels like you could beat somebody over the head with this thing super hard. So I said, let's put on the scales and see how much the bottom panel weighs. 2 pounds, 6.5 ounces, 1.1 kilograms just for the bottom panel. I know some amps in the past have had like lead weights inside just to make them kind of seem heavier. This one's 9 pounds, 5 ounces total, or 4.23 kilograms. Next up, we'll take a look at the internals. Korean Class AB amp from the late 90s, around 1997. This amp is not in any of the directories. It was probably a flea market amp or something to that effect. Not sure how many of these are actually still out there. But Dale did replace the caps with Nichicon, so we got some good quality capacitors here for years to come. Now let's hook this amp up to some speakers and see how it sounds. All right, let's try a little sound quality here with Smokey's Lounge. I let this segment go on a little bit longer than I typically would, but I was really enjoying the sound quality of the amp. It reproduced the sounds very nice. and I had 0 complaints. So let's hear some other tracks and see how it sounds. Trying out some vocals now with Ice and Fire by King Canyon.
Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're giving me wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite.
Once again, Amplifier did well. Of course, the ELAC bookshelf speakers are just amazing, but the amp made them sound great too. So good job, Hard Rock. So we decided to hook up the Sundown 6.5. We have the amp set into bridge mode, also 80 Hertz crossover, and we have it bridged here, which is the left positive and the right positive. So see how it sounds. Let's try a little bass woofer test with the Hard Rock amp and the Sundown SA 6.5 inch sub. All right, guys, I'm going to leave you with the flex. I appreciate you watching as always. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. Smash me a thumbs up. Till next time, Big D's playing around with old school stuff. I'm out.